Sandwiches are beautiful, sandwiches are fine. I like sandwiches, I eat them all the time. I eat them for my supper and I eat them for my lunch. If I had 100 sandwiches, I'd eat them all at once.
Welcome to Cadeau and Janko Wednesdays at Lunch, Burger Edition. This week, Matthew and I went to Monkland Taverne. On Monkland, in the Monkland Village.
Jesus.
The address is 5555 Monkland.
It's a lot of Monkland.
A lot of Monkland.
I didn't know anything about where I was.
Really?
Yeah.
Matthew, we've been to the Monkland Village before.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year. We went last year to Prohibition, right around the holidays in December.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
I do.
So this was our return to this neighborhood. We hadn't been there in a while. Matthew, what were your first impressions of Monkland Tavern?
It was a really hot day.
It was a very humid day today.
And then they gave us a seat outside.
Well, we could have got a seat outside, but they were cleaning off a seat as soon as we got there. And I was like, that's good for me. Because sitting outside on a hot day seemed right. But I sort of immediately regretted it.
Yeah, I like sitting outside on a hot day if you're sitting in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling you can get the most out of it, getting all the sun's energy.
I see what you're saying,
Soaking
but aren't we
into your
just
skin.
making the most of the summer by being outdoors?
Yeah, I guess so. But are you not also making the most of the summer by being refreshed by air conditioning inside? Because it's not going to mean the same thing in the winter.
That's absolutely true. I'm 100% with you on that. Okay, fair point.
Yeah. It was a fine place. I'm very picky with seats.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like I've chosen the wrong seat. I've been given the wrong seat. I always want to make changes.
So please elaborate. I'm curious. I was facing out towards the street. You were facing in towards the restaurant. Was that to your liking?
It wasn't, because I was right beside the door where everything was happening, where everybody was walking
So
in,
everyone's
looking
passing
for a seat,
by you, right
passing
behind
by.
you.
We were beside some noisy women.
Oh man, Matthew, I
Just a
really
lot
didn't think
going
you'd get me started on these women right off the bat.
I don't know.
These
It was
women,
upsetting.
for whatever reason, I was overhearing their conversation. It was upsetting me. And so I'd listen more and more and be more and more upset, to the point that once we left, I said to you, I generally don't agree with the purge, but in this case, I'd be okay with it. These women. The first thing that annoyed me, I felt like they were just like some like well-off wives. Maybe I'm I'm completely.
We didn't know anything else about
baseless.
them.
I know nothing about them. They seemed like some well-off wives who are enjoying their like Sanka set, having some drinks together and chit-chatting. Then they started talking about, it's like, oh, your son, he's working up in Nunavut. And none of them seemed to have any clue where Nunavut was. It's a territory of Canada that you and I learned about in grade school. Maybe they were not in elementary school when this happened, so they never bothered to learn about it. I don't know. That's baffling to me.
But they wanted them as a kid.
One of them
That
as a
kid
kid
would have gone through.
And that's true.
But
And
she
that
was the
kid
one who knew
is
about
in Nunavut, and she still didn't really know about it. She said it was in the north of Quebec.
That's true. She was just giving a lot of really broad, like someone who doesn't know anything about none of it, what they might say.
Yeah, and the other two are like, that's it's like Eskimo country. It's like, first of all, you don't call them that. That's a very rude way of talking about the Inuit.
Can we not say Eskimo?
No, man.
Can you never say Eskimo? Or is it just that not all Inuits are Eskimos?
No, Eskimo translates to like blubber eater, which is like a derogatory term. They are the Inuit people. There are other different tribes, Inuit tribes, that aren't necessarily Inuit, but you don't just call them Eskimos.
So Eskimo is never okay.
No, it's not cool.
But it's such a cute name.
I guess, but whatever. It means something not great.
You have not heard the last of me saying Eskimo.
Well, I mean...
And it's never going to be in an intentionally derogatory way.
Sure. I feel like I can only use it in a cartoon context or when talking about the Canadian Football League team, the Edmonton Eskimos.
There you go.
And there's been controversy about that name.
And not because they're not real Eskimos.
Correct. Because it is a derogatory term.
Okay. Why is blubber eater a bad thing? You eat blubber, it keeps you full, keeps you warm.
Yeah, but they don't necessarily eat blubber.
Well, I need to... What defines an Eskimo?
being a blubber eater, wouldn't it be? Because that's all it is, because they won't identify, Inuit people will not identify as Eskimos.
Oh, they don't even call themselves Eskimos.
No.
It's not like the E word, and we just can't say it.
No.
Okay.
No one is using it except racists.
Oh, okay. All right. And these women.
So
So I guess
these-
could have been racists. Yeah.
Well, effectively they were.
Okay.
Maybe just ignorant. Bunch of ignorant prods. But they have no idea where Nunavut is. They don't know what to call the native people of Nunavut. They then proceed to bother me with all kinds of other little comments. Like, there was something like, well, when you're in New York, you can't wear that. And I was like, well, what the hell is this? You fancy bitches. What is this? And then followed up by the same woman who seems to know, the one who particularly seemed to know the least.
The one who was really getting under your skin.
Yeah. Starts going on and on, saying, how long do you think something needs to be expired before you shouldn't eat it? And the other two are like no time. Once it's expired, you shouldn't eat it.
Yeah. That's a
And
good
she's
date.
like, well, the other day I ate a cup of yogurt that had expired in September 2016. That is 9 months ago. 9 months before this recording.
Yeah.
So she had eaten a 9-month-old yogurt cup, had a couple spoonfuls, said it tasted funny, then proceeded to text a whole bunch of people, as she said, to see what they thought. Most of them said things like, yikes, don't do it, no,
Yeah.
does it taste okay? Generally, if something's like more than a couple days gone bad, it's out. I'm not eating it.
If there's dairy involved, even the day of, I'm probably getting rid of it.
Yeah, I might give it a real good whiff and a real good look-see.
But she let all the trimesters go by.
A baby could have been conceived and born in the time that yogurt had been expired in that fridge.
Yeah, definitely should have been thrown out.
Then this woman starts
Maybe
going.
she's not even keeping it in the fridge.
Oh man, don't even
She's insane.
start.
Who knows what they do?
You're right. So this woman started laughing, talking about how she had prepared some salmon for her husband, and starts laughing, saying he was vomiting and vomiting. And her friends go, how long had this salmon been expired? And she goes, 3 years. I don't understand how you can do that and not realize when you open the package that this thing is 3 years expired.
Yeah.
Like, how is it not a rotting mess or just a brown, like salmon should be a bright pink or a orangey pink sort of thing. But like this must have been like a rotten brown and she just cooked it and served it up anyway.
She seems like a woman who's fully aware of how long things have been expired. I feel like she has a system in place for how long is too long. Salmon, 3 years. If I haven't used it,
3 years,
3 years.
we can maybe scrape by 3 years.
That'll make my hardworking husband something. And then laugh while he's throwing up.
Yeah, exactly. And then she said, well, if there was a zombie apocalypse, we'd be eating all of that. And her two friends agreed. And I wholeheartedly disagree. If there is a zombie apocalypse and you're in a full survival mode, you should not be eating spoiled food.
Never.
Because you will be slowed down by your rampant vomiting or diarrhea. And you need to stay light and able to leave anywhere at any point. You don't need to be like hugging a toilet bowl for the next 45 minutes because you're puking up 3-year-old salmon.
Yeah, it's food poisoning.
It's food poisoning.
And food. I mean,
She poisoned her husband.
It's true. Essentially, she could have been at least sent to jail for a night just to teach her a lesson. Don't. Your husband's out there we're assuming.
Yes,
that you're
all presumptions, baseless presumptions.
He's some fancy man, a doctor, a lawyer, or something. He's making all this money. All he wants is a meal that has not expired yet.
It's that these assumptions are not baseless, really. They're based on the fact that we're in the Monkland Village, a well-to-do neighborhood of Montreal. Matthew, because we sat outside and I did not have to use the washroom while we were there, I didn't actually step foot into the restaurant. Do you mind painting me a word picture of what the restaurant looked like? Because you went in to use the restroom.
It was very dark, but the air conditioning was nice. It was very empty. I thought there'd be more people inside.
Everyone was sitting outside.
But clean, small, much smaller than I thought, but the washrooms were very small. I don't know if you want to hear particularly about the washrooms.
Sure,
or just
why
how
not?
They were just very small.
Okay.
And very dark. And everything looks cleaner in the dark.
Sure.
But it's but I can't see what I'm doing. I can't see how dirty the toilet
How
seat is.
dark are we talking?
Like
Dimly lit, like a candlelight, or
a little brighter than the candlelight, but like maybe a 40-watt bulb in a room that should at least have a 60.
okay.
If that paints a good picture for you.
And the decor, the style of the restaurant,
Very blue.
very blue.
Very
okay.
But simple. I mean, light, like plexiglass with lights behind it to kind of have a glow to it.
I think you need to take like a design or architecture course just so you can have a bit of a vocabulary to talk about this stuff. I really you were not painting much of a word.
There wasn't much going on in there.
Okay.
There was a couple of tables and
It's
like
kind
the
of
walls were blue.
pretty empty.
There weren't like ostrich
Cool.
heads hanging on the wall. There wasn't.
Okay, this is. I feel like you're still proving my point, but
there was nothing that jumped out at me as
really, to you, it's like colors and taxidermy. That's all that matters in describing a place, right?
Well, how would you describe?
Ostrich heads is what you jump to.
Well, name it.
I don't know if I've ever been anywhere with ostrich heads.
There is a bar somewhere near Mount Royal that has ostrich heads. That's why
Okay.
it jumped to me, and I heard about it, and I thought it was going to be something amazing, like these prize ostriches or something. But it looked more like these ostriches were sick and died, and that's why they are just mounted all over the wall.
Okay. Well, anyway,
But we've never really described in such great detail the appearance of a lot of these, unless they stand out. Like
Sure.
The one that was the grinders.
yeah.
But, they had the dentistry lighting and stuff. So we talked about that. This place, nothing remarkable.
Okay, nothing
Other
remarkable.
than it was dimly lit.
Let's go with that. Blue, dimly lit bathrooms, cool, unremarkable.
And the sand, I was going to say the sandpaper was not very kind. But
Sandpaper?
but what I should have said is the toilet paper.
Oh,
Very much like sandpaper.
okay, got it.
But you didn't step foot inside.
No,
You just sat where they put you.
yeah, exactly.
And you didn't
Sitting,
move.
staring out at the street.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Matthew, we sat down. We all the waiters have these nice old style tavern style aprons, very long aprons. They gave us our menus. They asked us if we'd like a drink after a few minutes. Perfect. I had I believe it was called a white Negroni. Some new spin on the Negroni that I'm unfamiliar with, and tried it. It was nice. I guess I prefer the classic, but whatever. He said, okay, I'll punch that in right away. I'll get that right to you. And it took a while before I got the drink. It was like maybe a good 15-minute wait to get the drink. And the place wasn't that busy. Whatever. No big complaint. I wasn't in a rush. So we had the 5555 burger, obviously named after the address of the restaurant. It's a USDA choice black Angus house ground beef served on a poppy and onion seed bun, house dressed, according to the menu. In this case, it meant that it was lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, and a sauce that was obviously not described, but I believe it tasted to me like a mix of mustard, mayonnaise, and ketchup.
And I believe your taste. I believe your tongue.
I mentioned to you that this was my theory, and Matthew, you agreed. It was easier on the mustard. There was just a little mustard in that mix. And obviously, Matthew, you got your burger with no tomato.
Yeah, I did ask for it this time, and I felt the name of it was a little too long.
The 5555 burger?
Yeah, when I was like, because I didn't know the address, even though it was right in my face. If I
It was
looked over the
literally
door.
all you had to do was turn your head about like 15 degrees.
Yeah, it was like 55 US USD approved. What was it? US.
Yeah. USDA.
It was so much. It's a burger. Just call it a burger. You
Well,
don't
it's
even
the
come up-
5555
But they're not coming
burger,
up with
and
a
then the rest
fancy
was a
name.
description of the burger.
Yeah, but that's not a name. It's just the address. You didn't even try.
Well, yeah, I guess
If you're
that's
just
true.
gonna give it the address.
At that point, you might as well just call it our burger.
Yeah,
The burger.
sure. It's the only burger.
On their menu.
Why do you have to differentiate it by putting
It's
it
true.
55?
It's true. No one's like walking down the street going, now, did you have the 5555 burger or the 5,555 burger?
I wonder if anyone orders it that way. Because we just asked for the burger, but he didn't specify. He never asked.